friend. Good to have you here for the conversation on the Steve Gruber Show. You can always find out more at stevegruber.com. Go back and listen to interviews like the one we're having right now and listen to it on podcast at stevegruber.com. Listen live there as well. My next guest, Ryan Patterson, is the president of Unplugged. We'll tell you what that means in a moment. It's a phone company that you're going to want to know more about because you can actually get off the grid for real. And we're going to get to that in a moment. Before that, he was the founder, president, and CEO of First Research. Ryan also served 2 tours at the Defense Advanced Research Agency and 12 years in the United States Marine Corps. Ryan, nice to see you today.
Steve, I'm real glad to be here with you all. Good morning to everybody, and looking forward to the conversation.
Good to have you here. Look, the last time I talked about Unplugged was with a man named Eric Prince. People know who Eric Prince is, Blackwater, of course. Eric hired you to be president of this company. And again, we're going to talk about why this phone that I have in my hand is going to be so interesting to people. But before we get there, I want to talk about some of the things in the world that are going on because you have a unique perspective because of the places you've been and the things you've seen. So when you look around the world today, it's a very dangerous place, probably more dangerous, in fact, than it's been at just about any time in my lifetime. I mean, so many things seem to be on a hair trigger, whether it's Ukraine, what's happening in Gaza, the Chinese, at odds with everyone from the Philippines to Japan to the United States and Taiwan. I mean, there just seem to be so many moving parts and many of them seem dangerous. Do you agree with that?
Sure. I mean, there is definitely a sense of lots of things where any single event could tip the scales in a way that nobody wants to see. At the same time, there's progress and great capabilities being put forward around the world. But there are definitely some tinderbox areas right now, and I was quite concerned when we've got the first news of Iran launching all of the missiles that it sent towards Israel, that was going to be the catalyst for just a much wider expansion of things there in the Middle East.
What's remarkable about that is that most of those missiles and drones never even made it into Israeli airspace. They were shot down over Iraq, shot down over Jordan, showing the disdain that many of the countries in the region have for Iran. No question, it is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, whether it's the Houthis or Hamas or Hezbollah. But the people in the region don't seem to care much for the Iranians, and that was demonstrated, I think, in real time with the sophisticated eradication of all those incoming missiles and drones.
100%. So these are agreements and collective defense that came out of the Abraham Accords. There are counter missile batteries in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Iraq. I think one of the most compelling things that I saw were a bunch of Kurdish soldiers up on top of their roofs shooting AK-47s at some of the drones. Right, there was an entire collective defense against everybody because nobody stands to benefit in that region from this becoming a bigger area. The trade and the relationships that have been established between Israel and its neighbors are great, and nobody wants to go backwards on that.
Yeah, it's one of the ways that you look at AI. I was just reading about how they have F-16s now in the United States being geared up with AI, and that's for the good. The Iron Dome, what happens shooting down missiles and drones and so forth, using artificial intelligence to figure out how to get the trajectory right and take them out of the field of battle. That's all very good. Of course, on the other side of that, AI looking at you and I every day and investigating us, not such a good thing. So this technology can break either way, can it?
Absolutely. Some other great advances in AI is work in the medical field. So sort of understanding and diagnosing images and blood work at scale and very rapidly to get at better precision than what could be done with a radiologist are there. But the things that are happening with the deep fakes of making anybody or anything sound like they said something that they didn't say, and having that inflame masses and places, and identity theft, so many different areas that the AI is going to hurt us. But and again, technology is usually vanilla it's how it's applied by humans that make it dangerous or beneficial.
Absolutely true. You know, Bruce Cannon, who wrote a number of books about the Civil War and so forth, said that every invention in human history is at some point converted to use in military, and every invention is taken to its final ultimate conclusion. I think I agree with him on that. AI being the same. Look, I think that drones keeping people out of war, great thing. I think keeping people away from the battlefront, great thing. But unfortunately, what if those machines get hacked? What if those machines are used to come after you or I? What if those AI formulas are used to study you and I, which we know they are? And in fact, I want to bring up the FISA votes here, which have put us all, under the microscope. And apparently the United States Congress is okay with it, investigating you or me or American citizens. And to me, I find that to be a revolting development.
It's one of the reasons that I joined the current role that I'm in. I think it is one of the greatest threats to citizens of this nation in terms of losing privacy and the ability for the government without warrant to be able to ingest, reason on, decide, develop a pattern of life about you, and predict what you may or may not do next, right? Like the technology we have in our pockets right now, our phones know what we're going to do before it even crosses our mind.
Yeah, they listen to us. They take data points. My pickup truck apparently does the same thing. I've learned that General Motors and its motor vehicles monitor me, take stock of what I'm doing, who I'm talking to, what I'm saying, same thing. And that's why this phone that I'm going to talk about here, the company is Unplugged. It's the Up phone, right, from Unplugged. It is a phone that literally, for the first time ever, can be disconnected from the grid. This is remarkable because it's not just, hey, I can turn it off and power it off. I don't need, to put some special screen on it, right? This thing actually can keep me private, Ryan.
There's a lot of privacy enhancements for our phone, for sure. There's, several things that I think make the phone very special. One is we've brought back the ability to disconnect your battery from the phone, right? So I don't know if you've known this, if you're an iPhone user or a Samsung user, you can't take your battery out, right? It's a software power off. And if you're an iPhone user, you've seen it where it says, Find My iPhone will still work while your phone is powered off. Because what the phone is trying to do, and again, this is how technology is applied. What the phone is trying to do is make sure it knows exactly what tower it's going to hit when it comes back to life, right? It wants to know that. It helps responsiveness for you. It helps the calls come in better when you turn them on, so it knows exactly what tower it's on. But to do that, it's got to understand what's happening in the Wi-Fi network around it, what cell phone towers are near it, and those phones do keep a heartbeat going on those. And we brought back the thing, when we had Blackberries or the old flip phones, you just pull the battery out of the back of your phone. And we've reinstituted that with the kill switch on our phone. It allows you to disconnect the battery from all of the computation and all of the sensors on the phone. The second thing that we've done is, again, technology created that was supposed to be there to help you get at the data that you wanted better and faster. The mobile advertising ID, right? It's why all of these services that you get that are free are so good. It's why you feel like Google knows what you're going to search for before you type it in. They've had IDs on your phone.
Now hold that thought right there, Ryan. I want to continue to dig into this.